This is coming back. Say it loud. For you and me. Say it loud.
Welcome to the first of a three-part series on the 1987 National Black Catholic Congress. In the next three segments, we will explore the importance of this historical event. This first part will examine the reasons for the Congress, how it was prepared and organized, and how delegates were chosen. Our second show in the series will examine the Congress days through the speakers, discussion groups, and reflections from the delegates. In that show, we will take you from day 1 to day 4, highlighting the important aspects. The third presentation is a look at the National Black Catholic Pastoral Plan. This is the plan adopted by the Congress delegates. It is the heart and soul of the Congress experience, and its contents are of extreme importance. In order to understand the historical nature of those days in May 1987, we must first understand how they came to be. First of all, if you will, a definition. For those of us who are hearing about the National Black Catholic Congress for the first time, you might be asking, why and what is a National Black Catholic Congress?
Congress was a gathering in May of this year, 1987, of black Catholics from all over the country. We gather to reflect on our heritage, reflect on the meaning of being black and being Catholic, and to develop a black Catholic pastoral plan, especially a plan that will enable us to reach out to the broader community and to welcome black brothers and sisters who do not belong to our fold. And so the Congress is a movement as well as an event, and it continues well beyond the event.
Some of us might be asking, why a black Congress?
Well, yes, we're all Catholic, and we certainly share a common faith and a common heritage, as whether black or white or Indian, and we have a black Congress because there are special needs in the black community, in the black Catholic community, and we feel that the Catholic Church needs to extend itself in a specific way to address the myriad needs of the black community, and the intent of the Congress was to provide some focus for that.
Archbishop Oscar Lipscomb of Mobile, Alabama, who was one of the many bishops present at the Congress, addresses this question.
There is a difference in each group's approach to a valid and authentic manifestation of the Catholic faith. This is true of every national and ethnic group. I think the difference in many ways is more profound in black people. That does not mean there is any less of Catholicity. That means there is an opening toward a richness of the Catholicity there that by and large we have not plumbed, we have not identified, we have not fostered, and we have not used. It's only in our time, I have to be careful how I say this, I'm a historian and I want to make sure, but I can say it safely, only in our time that unique gifts of blackness have been seen as an asset in black Catholics. I think that for the first time they are conscious that they are not Catholic in a white church, or do not have to be. They are in the Catholic, the universal church. And their gifts of spirit and song and organization and particular ways and modes of addressing the kinds of realities that religion places in a person's life are not second class, that they have their own legitimacy, and I would say in the church in the United States today they have much to teach us, much to teach us.
The 1987 National Black Catholic Congress was held at the Catholic University of America in Washington, D.C. from Thursday, May 21st through Sunday, May 24th. What is of utmost importance here is the fact that this was not the first time that black Catholics had gathered together in this country. Before this 87 Congress, there had been 5 previous Congresses. The last was held in Baltimore in 1894. Records tell us that black Catholics were the first to hold a national lay Catholic Congress in the United States. It was Daniel Rudd who was the inspiration and driving force of that first Congress.
Daniel Rudd was born a slave. He was born in Bardstown, Kentucky, one of the areas where we have a traditional black Catholic presence. And one of the things that he himself is imbued with the notion that the Catholic Church was going to be the great help for blacks in this country, and that there was going to be a massive conversion of blacks to Catholicism.
The name of Daniel Rudd should always be remembered, for without this man, the Congress movement would never have become reality. Rudd was a fascinating man, and reading the story of his life shows a man with extreme energy and vision. He was editor of the American Catholic Tribune, a newspaper printed for and by black Catholics in the 19th century.
It's especially interesting to me to note that Daniel Rudd was a lay person, and that the first Black Catholic Congress initially was the very first lay Congress of the United States, that black people initiated that.
The first Congress met in Washington, D.C. from January 1st through the 4th, 1889. The delegates met with President Grover Cleveland at the White House. There were approximately 200 delegates, and Father Augustus Tolton, the black priest who had been born a slave, celebrated Mass for the delegates. The second Congress was held in Cincinnati, Ohio, from July 8th through the 10th, 1890. The third was held in Philadelphia in July of 1892. The fourth Congress was held in September of 1893 in Chicago. At this Congress, the delegates attacked discriminatory actions in Catholic schools. Questions surfaced regarding the return of the Negro to Africa and the establishment of separate schools and churches for blacks. The fifth Congress in Baltimore was held from October 8th through the 11th, 1894. After this Congress, these forums came to an abrupt end. The next National Black Catholic Conference did not occur until after the founding of the Knights of Peter Claver in 1909. In 1925, the Federated Colored Catholics held a national convention. It is believed that this group met annually until 1949. The National Office for Black Catholics, founded in 1960, has sponsored recent national conferences in 1980 in Chicago, 1982 in Houston, and in New Orleans in 1984.
I would say that the Black Catholic Congresses, which are unique in certain ways, nevertheless, I think, were to some extent a preview of what would be a constant in Black Catholic history. A history of lay involvement, which I don't think has always been recognized as one of the things that has been a part of the history of the Catholic Church in this country.
This 1987 Congress was not an isolated, unique incident in our history. Our look through the past has shown us with clarity that there was definitely precedent for this event. The question we might ask now is, why, now, after 94 years, should we hold another Congress?
But the reason we have it today, the reason we can come today, is that we have 11 black bishops. We have in over 30 dioceses offices of black Catholics. We have an increasing number of blacks who are entering the church. The black bishops issued a pastoral letter of 1984. There is a sense of vitality and a sense of dynamism within the black Catholic community. And so there was a real sense of readiness. As a matter of fact, when we were preparing the Congress and sent out the initial invitations, there was almost categorically and almost unanimously, there was a sense, well, now is the time, and it's about time we did this. And one of our initial problems was how to limit this, you see, how not to see this as something that was going to solve all of the problems of the black community. But there was such a level of enthusiasm and interest in this, and a real sense that it was an idea whose time had come.
The sponsoring groups of the 1987 Congress were the National Black Clergy Caucus, the National Black Sisters Conference, the Knights and Ladies of Peter Claver, and the National Association of Black Catholic Administrators. The letter, What We Have Seen and Heard, published in 1984 by the 10 black bishops of the United States, set the evangelization effort in focus as it addressed a wide range of issues which were of relevance to black Catholics. This letter precipitated the call for the National Congress. Bishop John Ricard, Auxiliary Bishop of Baltimore, was chosen by the other bishops to coordinate the plans for the Congress. It was the organizational skills of Bishop Ricard which contributed significantly to the success of the Congress.
Well, I became chairman it was at the discretion of the black bishops. As black bishops, we get together on about 4 times a year, and we deal with a variety of issues, try to provide the leadership in the church among blacks. And we thought it would be very important to focus so many of the trends that were developing within the black Catholic community, and to provide a central focus for that and a central kind of direction. And we thought we couldn't do very much without the cooperation of the black priests and the black sisters and the black laity. And so we initially got these 4 groups together, black bishops, laity, priests, and sisters. And we began to discuss the Congress, and it was clear that the leadership really had to be Episcopal, or had to be a bishop. And I was designated by the black bishops to be that for that position.
As we can conclude from Bishop Ricard's remarks, the Congress was not organized overnight. Many hours, days, weeks, months of planning were involved.
It took about 2 years to plan, and about 18 months of intensive effort, of people getting together monthly and from all over the country, of getting the facilitators or the organizers of the Congress together, of soliciting dioceses, asking them to have local reflection days. That took about 18 months to do, and of going from diocese to diocese, and 110 in total, and to see how things were going and whether this was whether they were responding adequately and so forth. So it took enormous amount of organizing skills and organization. We subdivided the country into 6 distinct regions, and we had a regional coordinator that went to these dioceses. And I have to say that the bishops did respond very well, and so did the black Catholics, very, very well.
When I came on board with Bishop Ricard, he told me, "Oh, Teresa, this will be a very simple job. We think that we'll have 40 to 50 dioceses buy into this." It was never our expectation that we would double that. And even 2 weeks before the Congress, there were 2 small dioceses that had completed all of the requirements that we had asked people to do, and were so enthusiastic to join and to come on board. So that says something too about the timeliness of that and the work of the Spirit. It was something needed.
For every 1 delegate, we turned away 5. There could have been 5 to 10,000 people at that affair. There was just that level of interest. People were coming in busloads. A whole entire choir was coming from California. Busloads were coming from North Carolina. They were coming from the South. It was an incredible level of, an entire parish wanted to come, you see. So we had all of that. And so there was an incredible level of interest in this. And then not only in terms of the black Catholic community, but there was a high level of interest in the Catholic community at large.
Each diocese was required to do a number of things. First, endorse the National Black Catholic Congress by calling into being diocesan-wide reflection groups. Second, to obtain from the reflection groups agenda items for the National Black Catholic Congress, which best represent their evangelization efforts. Third, to send delegates to the National Black Catholic Congress. The reflection groups were formed by the local bishop, who commissioned a diocesan coordinating team. It was the responsibility of this team to organize a diocesan-wide assembly of black Catholics. People would assemble for 1 full day of prayer, study, and reflection on the call to evangelization. To make these days of reflection successful, special effort was made to include each area of the black community. Care was taken to involve the average man and woman in the pew. Each person, young and old, was given an opportunity to voice an opinion and point of view.
So we saw the days of reflection as being very important, because we wanted people to surface what was important to them at their level. See, this was to be a grassroots effort, and it was to rise or fall depending on the level that was the grassroots were a part of it. And so the days of reflection were very important in that people were asked to surface what was important at that level, and also to organize people at the local level, so that, in many ways, we develop programs, we develop an agenda, but unless you have people in the field to carry out the agenda, it doesn't get carried out.
Those who attended the Days of Reflections did not just sing, pray, and listen to speakers. Those who attended shared their concerns and feelings. Each assembly was asked to prioritize 5 items. These items were sent on to the national headquarters. These items, as well as the agenda items from dioceses across the country, would collectively form the agenda for the National Black Catholic Congress.
The 5 items from each of the dioceses, we put them all together. We had them categorized, analyzed, and synthesized to a large degree, and it became for us what we dubbed to be a working document, or our pastoral vision. And in turn, we took the general themes that were in that document, the working document, and they became the dominant themes for the Congress. And so you will notice in the Congress program, and you may have noted in the Congress program, that our speakers spoke to those dominant themes, and our discussions were around those dominant themes, and the resolutions that were passed by the Congress were revolved around the dominant themes that came out of the Days of Reflection and came out of the working document.
Besides the 5 priorities, each local group chose delegates to represent that diocese at the Congress. It was truly grassroots representation. People came from all walks of life. Some came from small towns, some from large cities. But from wherever they came, and whoever they were chosen by the people, not appointed because of status, wealth, or position. From the beginning, delegates were told that this was a working Congress. This meant you will come and you will work. No time for sightseeing or relaxing during these days.
We had a schedule that we thought was going to be unheard of. As they said, you're going to be busy from 7 in the morning to 9 at night. And we were busy from 7 in the morning till 12 at night. Many of us didn't even see our rooms. That's why it didn't matter what kind of rooms we had.
The opening ceremonies, which took place in the magnificent shrine of the Immaculate Conception, were truly a memorable beginning to this first Congress in 94 years. Before a packed shrine, delegates, clergy, religious, bishops, archbishops, and cardinals processed into church for an evening mass that would never be forgotten. The excitement and feeling of pride was evident wherever you looked. When the 11 black bishops appeared, applause began. As they made their way to the altar, everywhere down the long aisle, people were smiling, applauding, and shaking hands.
I think the most exciting moment was the opening liturgy, to see the 11 bishops present. That was truly a great moment for me, to see those bishops so capable, so articulate, so dignified, and yet so down to earth. It brought to mind good memories and bad memories. I come from a church that was segregated with signs in the church telling me where to sit. And here I'm in the presence of 11 black bishops. And I grew up in a time when black women and black men were not allowed to enter into the priesthood in my diocese and in many religious orders.
Thursday evening was one of the most exuberant experiences that I had in the Catholic Church. It was unbelievable.
Well, I kind of felt like my children. It was an awesome thing. I was like a child, just in awe of all of it. And first of all, I'd never been in the presence of that many clergy gathered together, and certainly never that many black bishops had I seen and hoped to see all at one time. So it was just, to me, awesome.
When the bishops and then the black bishops came in, everybody was just on their feet clapping. You know, I see clapping as the black amen. We don't say amen too much in Catholic Church, but we clap a lot. And everybody was just on their feet and just so overjoyed. It's such a feeling of oneness with the bishops. It was striking. I guess I kind of thought about it like Jesus entering Jerusalem on Palm Sunday. It was a fantastic experience.
The gathering of the 11 black bishops of our country, I think was a beautiful source of pride, I think, for all of us to see them together, worshiping together and working together.
Archbishop Hickey of Washington, D.C. welcomed the delegates to the shrine and the Diocese of Washington.
We are grateful that so many of you said, "Here am I, send me," just as Isaiah responded. And I am here along with so many of our bishops to listen, so that our teaching may rest even more clearly on the experience of your lives. We come also to offer the loving support of our apostolic teaching as you look for ways to develop and promote the work of evangelization in our country. With you, we pray for the success of this Congress.
From the shores of the Pacific came greetings from Archbishop Mahoney of Los Angeles. Cardinal Law of Boston followed with his words of welcome. Bishop Joseph Lawson Howes, the only black ordinary in this country, was the main celebrant for the Mass. Bishop Eugene Marino, in a long, impassioned homily, spoke of how he thought he would never see the day.
I never thought I'd see the day when over 1,000 black Catholics, men and women, representing over 1 million black Catholics in the United States, would gather together with their bishops and priests and religious collaborators, black and white, to share their gifts and their hopes and their dreams for our church. I never thought I'd see the day when I would stand before a gathering such as this, with brother bishops and priests, offering a Mass presided over by the black Bishop of Biloxi.
And we're here today to do more than to talk, to meet, or discuss. We really are here to forge a vision which will enable us to go far beyond our present limitations, far beyond our time, far beyond our particular selves. We're here to forge a vision which will enable us to build the church in our community for generations to come.
Little did the black Catholics of the 1800s realize the monumental importance of their congresses some 100 years ago. How proud they would be today to know that their dreams and farsightedness, and their loyalty to the church were not in vain. And what would Daniel Rudd say if he had seen so many laity gathered together that evening in the National Shrine? The many Catholics who have struggled for so many years, the many men and women who patiently endured the racism and prejudice of American society, as well as the short-sightedness of their own church, would be proud of what was about to begin. What would they say if they could have been in that church on May 21st, 1987? Make no mistake about it, the National Black Catholic Congress was built on a mountain of faith, a sea of tears, a valley of endurance. It was not an isolated event. Those days from May 21st through May 24th, 1987 will go down in history because of the planning and dedication of men and women who are deeply rooted in their history and faith. The 1987 National Black Catholic Congress has said to us all, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud to be a Catholic.